Hi everybody, this week is Parshas Trumah, and I am the beneficiary of someone's great kindness. Saturday night, I go to my car and I discover a flat tire. Great, not a great way to start a Saturday night, and now I got to figure out how to change this tire. I'm not familiar with the car, it's at night, I'm on a random street in Jerusalem, in Yerushalayim, and I get down on the floor and I start trying to take off the tire, and I'm really struggling a bit. And next thing I know, a voice from behind me says, "Hey, do you need some help?" I said, "Yes, that would be great." And this guy gets off his bike and he gets on the floor, and in just a few moments, he gets the tire changed. And I offer to pay the guy, and he says, "No, this is my chesed. This is the way I start my week. I just live down the block. I'm happy to help you." And with that, he was off. And that struck me that this week's Parshas Trumah, talks about donating materials to build the Mishkan, the place where God is going to live. And the pasuk says, "Vayuchol li truma." I want you to take from truma me'ez kol ish, from each person, asher yidvenu libo, whatever their heart desires, whatever their heart wants to give over. And I thought to myself, wow, look at this guy. He just gave of himself. He gave with a full heart. Again, I even tried to pay him. I want to go a little bit further. There's a little problem with this verse. This was pointed out to me in the Dvar Torah by Rabbi Dr. Gideon Rothstein, a friend of mine, and I hope I do justice to this, but he quotes an Etziv, a Mekadavar, who says, there's a little bit of problem here. First of all, how do you build a Mishkan over what everybody wants to give? He quotes a Gemara in Bava Basra that says that to build a shul, you can force people to give, and certainly a Mishkan is more important. So what does that mean? And also, if people are giving from their heart, why does it have to say, V'yichol li truma? It seems to be like, sort of a commandment. So Rabbi Rothstein explains that it means kind of both. It means in the sense that if people had what was needed for a shul to be built, the Bezdin, the court, the elders could force the person to give. But if there were things that weren't as needed, but people still wanted to donate, they could give from their heart. And truth is that this was the most successful building campaign in the history of the world, because eventually Moshe had to tell people to stop to give. They had more than enough to give. And I thought of going back to this fellow who just gave of his heart. He saw me in need. He had what I needed. I didn't have to ask. He volunteered. I'm reminded of an idea from Reb Chaim Volozhin and Nefesh HaChaim, who explains that there are people who learn Torah but don't have midot, and there are people who have midot but don't have Torah. And he uses the metaphor of a farmer who works his field but has no silo to store his grain, so the produce will spoil. Or a farmer who has a great silo, big silo, but he never works the field, so he's got an empty silo. He says the same thing with a person. They can sit and learn Torah, but if they don't work on their midot, their Torah will spoil. They will not have the proper silo to store it in. Or the opposite, they always work on their midot, but they don't fill it with Torah, and therefore it remains empty. Here's a fellow who I would like to think, in this short encounter, was someone who had a sense of Torah and had a sense of midot, and beautifully put together, I'm the beneficiary. Anyway, Trumah means to elevate. He elevated me. He elevated the idea of helping a Jew on a Saturday night, the first thing that a person can do to do his chesed. What a great idea. Anyway, I hope this inspires you all to do chesed as we enter into Adar, Misha Nichnas Adar, Marvin B'Simcha. Thank you, Rabbi Rothstein, for the inspiration. And I want to wish everybody Shabbat Shalom. If you like what you hear, please pass it on.